Right, as you can see, we got these green kind of clocks, which means this is all time dependent, which we don't need, right? So I'm just going to drop a time shift first of all. Underneath the, we'll do it here, I think, yeah. And then let's set this to delete channels 141. I want it for there, okay. Spacebar and F to go and find him. There he is. Okay, and then I'm also going to split this guy into shoes and body. Okay, body coming out the right, shoes coming out the left, because I'm going to simulate the shoes as cloth, a very stiff cloth, and the body as a soft body, right? So let's configure these settings a bit better. So I'm going to bring this down half the size again, give us a bit more detail. We don't need too much, okay? This isn't going to be our final, we're not going to be rendering this geometry. We're going to be using this to point deform something else. And then I'll push the iterations up a bit, 5, just to get something a bit cleaner, hopefully. And then on the solid conform as well, okay, we'll drop that down to 1.5 as well, I think. Keep them the same. 0.015. That'll take a bit of time. If you watch there, you can see this calculating, but not too long. If we hit the clip there, you can see we've got a bit more detail there now. Okay, that's good. I also want, I'm going to bring this down. Just like before in the example, I'm going to, kind of group all my separate pieces of geometry and then, do the constraints all together in one thing. So the group, just call it Hunter. And I will set this to point. It's not absolutely necessary for this part, but I think in the sim later, yeah, we need this in points. But maybe not, I'm not sure, but this is the way it worked for me in the past. So okay, and then so with the shoes, okay, we don't want these because that's going to be intersecting with the body, right? So let's come and grab these polygons and just delete them. Again, we're not going to be rendering this, so I'm just going to click on this eye so we don't select the polygons behind, right? Select these and select these. And then if I remember correctly, if we press Control and G, no, Shift and G to expand this selection. This will happen on both simultaneously until, yeah, we'll say this point, so we still want something on the top there. So Shift and G will expand them up to there and then just delete them, a simple blast. Okay, I know it's not very procedural, but I don't think I'm going to be changing the geometry up here. Maybe you'd get a new geometry, but it's the best way I could come up with anyway. And then we'll remesh this as well. So these boots, obviously boots are quite stiff, and for a stiff fabric in vellum, you need a very coarse geometry. Not coarse, but you don't want it to be highly subdivided. Okay, if you have lots of tiny, you might be trying to get lots of details with bringing this remesh down to a tiny edge length size, but it's just impossible to hold the kind of shape, the form of these objects when in vellum, right? To do kind of rigid bodies, you need to have a low number of polygons to do that. And I'm going to do a couple of groups here, okay, because I want to treat these differently. It's not necessary, but for something I want to do, which will be interesting, I'm going to call this left boot. Okay, on primitives I think is fine for this. No, we'll do points as well actually. Okay, and then keep in bounding regions. Find it, there we go, bring it closer. So I'm just going to grab the left boot, which that is, yeah. And then Alt click and drag, and drag that over to the other boot, and surprise, surprise, call this right boot. Okay, merge them together. Great, so we've got them mixed together. So again, yeah, we're not going to be rendering these boots. We'll be point deforming them. The original geometry, and the same with the body. Okay, so this now we need to set to the hunter. If we can get that group, set it to points, hunter. There we go, you can see them there. And then let's drop a cloth. Oh, actually, before I do that, let's I'm going to push this up all the way to the max, 10 times 1 with 10 zeros after it, whatever that is, I don't know, millions, billions. But basically very, very stiff, okay? You can see even with this, it's still going to bend and flex a lot, right? So yeah, I'm pushing that up as high as I can. And then for the boot, so let's drop a vellum configure cloth for that. Drop that in there. Oops. Okay, for the primitives, we want, for the primitives for the group, again, the boot, or left boot, and right boot. Or if you want to be clever, you can just do that. That will grab both the boots. Okay. And then everything else pretty much at default. Let's see. I think the stretch stiffness is okay. Compression, we'll leave it as it is. Bend stiffness, definitely we want to change that. Again, push it up to the max. Okay. This is very important. I find value, the bend stiffness. Okay, it has a massive effect on the look of your simulation, right? Cool. So let's see. Let's jump back into our solver and see what that gives us. Go to frame 140. We'll see we've got everything together here. One thing I'm going to do here, so this static object, you can see if we come into collisions and in the ABD solver, you can see the collision detection is use solver default. And with vellum, that's a surface, right? But I want to use the volume for this crocodile. So I'm going to delete all this because we don't need it. It's got a solver inside it, I think. I'm going to change this to use volume collisions. Okay, so it forces it to use the volume representation of this crocodile. Okay, let's turn off display geometry, turn on collision guide, so we can see what we're getting here, which is, if we scroll to the bottom, the proxy volume. So that's what we're creating, or the shelf created for us, or you can do it yourself also if you want to do something different out here. So we're getting this volume. Okay, we're not caching it because it's pretty fast. Okay, it's not too, we don't need super detailed geometry here. One thing I'm going to do before I do forget is come here, make a, I'll do this here. So I'll press 9 my keyboard and go to 3D connectivity, grab this 0 island, which is the body, and then delete that, delete non-selected. Okay, basically I wanted to get rid of those teeth there, because that's going to be very difficult or almost impossible with the speed of the animation of the crocodile to get good collisions with that. So I'm just going to get rid of them. Okay, you're not going to notice it, but I hope you're not going to notice it in the simulation. Okay, so we still got our VDB there, maybe not because we've got holes in the eyes. So let's try a polyfill. Press 9 to get rid of that. Polyfill in there. Oh. Make sure you're in here. Polyfill, please. There we go. And I'll set that to single polygon. It doesn't have to be anything clean. And there we go. Now we get our nice geometry. So let's just quickly see. I'm also going to come outside and just set this to 8. And let's just play this through. Oh, actually, press escape. Oops. Let's jump inside, press I. Turn off this collision guide. Display geometry. I don't know, I keep getting that. And let's watch this. Scene was behaving a bit weird there, so I just saved, closed, and opened my scene. And I've just cached a few frames here of the sim, just to show you that everything's working okay. The collision is working fine. It doesn't look like we've got any parts of the body passing through the head of the crocodile. And then he grabs hold, and then he falls out of his mouth, which is something we'll need to take care of. And the shoes are not too floppy, they seem pretty stiff at the moment. Obviously, if this was, a feature film or something, we'd have some kind of system to hold the limbs rigid, some kind of rig or skeleton. But like I said, the animation of the crocodile is so quick and violent that